carry and Lemon Nation on support.
That's nice. Happy birthday to him. In today's featured matchup, however, we'll be keeping an eye on the clash of the carries. Well, Wild Turtle versus Sneaky.
And Riv, in the past few weeks, Sneaky has been a clutch player and carried Cloud9 in their victories. He actually accounts for 37% of his team's damage. The next highest damage dealer comes from COG's Doublelift with 31% of his team's damage. On the other side of the coin is Wild Turtle, who has been a bit of a liability for his team lately, and particularly in this matchup. In their previous games, he's averaged a 1.1 KDA against Cloud9, where Sneaky has a 9.7 KDA against TSM. So it will be incredibly important for Wild Turtle to step up if TSM's going to have a shot at taking the win.
And more even so in this featured matchup, but both of these AD carries kind of have the same teacher from down the road. Lemon Nation kind of trained both of these guys to the point they are now. And Lemon has even said in the past that he feels Sneaky is one of the strongest AD carries that he's ever had a chance to bot lane with.
Exactly. And at this point, he's actually had much more experience and high pressure experience with Sneaky, who was this guy who was really... He didn't have a lot of backing behind him. No one was really talking this guy up because he just kind of was the guy who sat back and did his job. But especially this split, he's really stepping up into the main damage dealer. And that's always the big thing about AD carries. You don't want the AD carry who sits back and does nothing but get kills and stays safe.
Yeah.
You don't want the guy who flies in and dies every fight. You want a guy who maximizes his damage, and that's what Sneaky's doing.
We'll see how they can maximize pick and bans. Another very big point we just saw the teams kind of conversing back and forth at the camera saying pick and bans is really where Cloud9 can throw you out of the game.
Yeah, I mean, in the first week, they banned out all the junglers for Amazing.
Yeah.
This week, actually, both Meteos and Amazing have been doing a lot of Rengar practice in the jungle. He had been disabled all the previous weeks in the LCS, and the fact that Braum is going to be a pick ban threat, as well as Rengar kind of taking Kha'Zix's place as the fourth big jungler in the North American LCS, I think, will be very interesting to watch throughout this pick ban.
Amazing has been trying to help get the team going. A lot of team solo mid in the solo lanes has been a little lackluster, as it usually is. There would either be one big win for them in a solo lane and a carry to the objective portion. We'll see if they can get the lineup they need for that. Banning out the Lucian. Little last ban there.
Braum is up.
Braum is up.
Is the big thing. And every time he was up in the European LCS, he was picked. Not necessarily first, but he was picked. I think a lot of it actually has to do with, since he hasn't been out in the LCS, teams haven't been focusing practice on him.
Yeah.
And if they want to focus practice on him, he's banned all the time in solo queue. If they want to actually do that avenue of practice. So a lot of teams actually haven't played him, which is why I think he wasn't necessarily a first pick priority.
Well, he's definitely a dangerous pick once he does get into that lane. So much defense and offense to be had on both sides of the coin from Braum. And we will see if TSM or Cloud9 try their hand at that today. Lemon Nation has kind of been on a Morgana Thresh run, as well as Glebe.
Ooh.
Nami's also through on this one. That's something Lemon's been playing, and it looks like Turtle, he plays Corky, but he really takes away from Sneaky on this one. First pick priority.
Yeah, what a strange first pick. With Lucian banned and Twitch and Braum available, these teams could potentially be afraid. Well, there's Boom. Of course. I thought maybe TSM would be afraid of getting Zyra picked into Braum because Zyra is actually quite good against him, but with Morgana banned, if Braum lands one nice Q onto Zyra, it would be the death of her in lane. So it's a very curious first pick there from Team Solomon.
Glebe is not one to be afraid to play aggressive. He's got quite some deaths on the support role. We'll see if he can keep himself alive a little longer or get the 2v no lane going. We see Balls pick up Shyvana as TSM locks it in their side. Balls has 3 straight games on Trundle and then all Shyvana, so he keeps the Shyvana train going for himself. Holy speed picks going on
Cloud9 is fast with their picks and bans. They always have been. I mean, we did bring up that Rengar was the jungler that Meteos and Amazing had been practicing, so they didn't necessarily care if Elise went by the wayside. They have a tremendous combination in Braum and Twitch because Twitch can open up and Braum can just stand in front of him, or Twitch can stand behind him while his shield is on, and it's a ridiculous combination to try and fight through.
Oh my word. Cloud9 has just built a composition where you cannot walk out of line or fall behind for 1 second in any fight. That is a scary comp. On the other side as well, controlled the map. TSM is trying to get a lot of that.
Yeah, I mean, TSM had the Twisted Fate pick planned to go against all the stealth on Cloud9.
Right.
So they were hoping to bait out the Twitch and the Rengar pick. We'll see if that strategy works, because sure, if they timed their destiny properly on Twisted Fate, they would be able to see a Rengar who's on the hunt or a Twitch who is in ambush. But that is just a really risky strategy because of all the things they gave up and how comfortable Cloud9 is going to be on pretty much everything.
Yeah, awesome picks. It seems like the team's coming together a little bit more in their comfort level and where they're going outside the box here. Cloud9 was definitely having a bit of trouble getting high back into the mix, but with these picks right now, it shows that their coordination should be top-notch as well. First pick priority for Team Solo Mid. We'll see if that is really something that kind of gets under their own skin. We're going to quickly head over to lolesports.com and see what you think and who will be taking the W. 63% of that vote right now is going for Cloud9.
Yeah.
I'd probably put my vote that way right now, too. Those
Team
picks.
Comp is looking rather strong. Keep sending those votes throughout the game by sending either hashtag TSMWin or C9Win to @LOLesports. And a little update throughout the game, so you can get your pick in after First Blood just to say, oh yeah, they got First Blood, now I think they're winning.
And Cloud9 has pretty much what they want. I mean, Balls hasn't had a super high kill lane. He hasn't been getting a lot of kills this year either. Lowest kills as a top laner. So him and Dyrus are kind of going on the taster's choice of picks, Renekton and Shyvana, when you need to. But High's pick of Fizz, super kill potential on that TF in mid lane. There's a lot of outplay potential there, and High loves to play aggressive.
Especially because High is going to try and jump up on the pole every time he would get gold card stunned or anything. So tricky bit of matchup there.
Well, we'll see who has more tricks up their sleeve. We are on to the match here. Week 4, first game. TSM versus Cloud9 is underway.
And in this Week 4, you can see Cloud9 taking full advantage of the 4.9 patch that we're playing on. Rengar and Braum,
both picks.
Both enabled this week. Bam! Right off the bat, Cloud9 always a team to try and adapt quickly as possible, especially in the playoffs of the Spring Split when the heal patch came in. And everyone was doing the Soraka mid lane. Cloud9 was doing that before everyone else and was the best at adapting to that. Here comes Braum and Rengar.
Slowly walking out. We'll see how much Cloud9 feels comfortable with this in the beginning. I'm sure Meteos wants to get a solid jungle start on this. And the rest of the team has a lot formulated. But TSM says, let's try to make this a little harder. Let's get in their hair and see what we can do. Some knowledge of their movement. And they know this is just going to be kind of for the stay and the steal.
Yeah, so I do need to talk about the Braum lane a little bit because, yes, he was seen in the European LCS, but this is the North American LCS. So one thing the teams were able to do against him in the European LCS and was expected is he's a little bit vulnerable to getting shoved in lane early. So if the other team can get a little bit of wave advantage and keep the minions at Braum's turret, he has almost no kill threat because the only way Braum gets aggressive is if he lands a Q on the enemy. And also he doesn't want to engage on a giant minion wave. But in team fights, because of his ability to apply stun passive procs on so many people and also block so much of the damage with his shield, he's an absolute monster once he gets to that phase. So I actually think if Cloud9 can get a 1v2 completely to their advantage because they won't be getting shoved in and it will give Braum an easier early laning phase.
Let's see how the ward control goes down this game as well. Wild Turtle was speaking a lot about that, and the pink ward control is going to be even more in their minds this game with the Rengar and the Twitch pick. Going to the top lane. They're actually waiting for Dyrus to make a move here. Start getting himself some CS.
Well, especially in these 2v0s, they're hoping Dyrus actually starts the wave off hitting creeps because that will allow Cloud9 to deny him. But as long as Cloud9 is getting last hits, the wave should slowly push towards Dyrus. It's just going to be a little while.
Just one hit off from taking some extra stun damage on that. Looks like Meteos and Balls making their way into the jungle, and they may be able to find Dyrus on this, but they split right off the bat. They're going to be pinching him in on this one. It looks like he will be quite safe after seeing Meteos on the side. No, he had full on that one, so it looks like Dyrus going to be hit up. Slice dice. He held first skill that long. Yeah,
but even so, he was just trying to keep tabs on what was going on in the jungle. It did delay them very slightly. He wasn't going to be getting experience anyway. That wasn't a mistake by any means by Dyrus. Just means that TSM knows exactly where the Cloud9 roam would be coming from if they do it.
This also means Amazing is going to be getting some solo experience as he goes around the jungle. Balls not with Meteos is going to be stealing that up, and you can see High already aggressive under the turret. Gets that lane pushed up just enough so he can be in and out. Yeah, dodged every last bit of damage there. Didn't take the turret shot or the wild cards from Bjergsen. He's going to have to be afraid of the Elise pretty shortly, but that's why they have the early ward coverage in the lane. And that's also why Lemon Nation is roaming around on Braum. He's actually hoping to get some type of counter gank. This is usually their level 2, 3 that they're trying to
dear.
get. Glebe and Dyrus actually going to answer on this as well.
This
They
is a
are
great
perfectly
trap.
set up. Lemon Nation throws out the cube, but is it going to be enough? 1, 2, 3 after the other. High throws himself into the fire, but the whole team has come down. Lemon's a tick away, but he stays alive. Turtle's now here, and that's going to be amazing going down first. Meteos is back and forth. That's going to be his buffs really helping in this fight, but they know they can't help High anymore. It's going to be the quick 1-for-1. First blood to Meteos.
Wow. I mean, we've been talking a lot about how in this 2v0 lane setup, you can have a lot of roamers from either side of the map kind of arrive in mid lane. That's exactly what we saw. TSM had 5 people there. Cloud9 had 4, which means that the double buffs being transferred to Meteos and the fact that it was a 1-for-1, while Twitch was able to farm freely in the top lane, means Cloud9 comes out ahead on that trade.
Getting some stacks on that bone tooth for himself already. Let's take a look at that again.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like just the bait from Cloud9. It was a sixth sense in Lemon Nation kind of thinking there was something there because they'd been gone from the bottom lane. He checks it a little aggressively, but just barely staying alive, and that gave time for Cloud9 to come down. Meteos did a really nice flash jump out of the brush there, making it so you could still jump out of the brush even after the flash because there's a short delay, and he allowed himself to pick up that quick kill on Rengar.
Good refresh on the buffs. That'll definitely put a hindrance on Amazing's lane pressure as he comes in, but it looks like he's still going to be roaming with Dyrus as they take over the top bottom side of the jungles respectively here in this 2v-none. Let's see, Dyrus is now level 2 on that fight. Balls and Dyrus both getting assists on that, so as we're looking a bit at the top laners, both help there for each. The AD carries in our matchup didn't really get anything out of that, just kind of a walk around for them. Missed some CS.
Well, the kill from Wild Turtle will definitely make up for his missed CS, I think.
I looked
Yeah.
right past it.
Luckily, picked it up on the backside.
That's
and
right.
Actually, surprisingly, last week, we saw a sub-4-minute dragon in 7 of the 8
That's true.
which is actually more so what Lemon Nation was checking for when he walked down there because he was hoping to get a little bit of harassment down onto TSM. You can see if Dyrus is very low, maybe they could have disrupted that. But now that they've swapped up into the top lane, there's no disruption to be had, even though Dyrus is a little bit low.
Very smart play by Team Soul Mid right now, controlling the map as much as they need to here in the early game as they trade 1-for-1 to kill just a bit ago. That's 8.2k for now for the 7.6 of Cloud9. No type of snowball to be had here. The TSM is starting to grab a bit of a lead in that mid lane. Bjergsen is 44 CS to High's 29, so that aggression is not really paying off for him just yet.
Yeah, well, the Twisted Fate range advantage over
Yep.
High definitely has something to say about that. And the ward coverage that TSM has in the Dragon side of River really makes High play a little bit uneasily. So he's just trying to survive.
Something the TSM said they would do is continue to place wards against Cloud9. The pink wards actually have not come out yet, something, or at least for Cloud9 rather, on that side to the Dragon. They're still defending their side instead of trying to move that line forward. It shows how kind of weary they are at TSM's control of the map so far. High doing quite well in the mid lane as he tries to get himself back up in that CS. And this Fizz play is not something we've seen of him yet, so he is still trying to show what the champion pool is in the summer split.
Yeah, but honestly, High, despite Cloud9's struggles, has kind of been impressive with his champion pool and what he's been able to bring out. Playing LeBlanc early on, he had a Twisted Fate game, a Soraka game, a Lulu game. Kha'Zix is Nidalee, we'd never seen him on before last week, and he landed pretty much every spear. He is showing a fair bit of champion diversity.
Looks like some of it is the kind of confidence that the team needs as well. It seems like everybody else has been bringing their play style up just a few notches to follow up with, the, like you said, the Kha'Zix play, the great LeBlanc and Nidalee play that he can bring out.
Yeah. I will say it's very interesting as well how this Cloud9 matchup has kind of evolved over time, with Cloud9 winning pretty much every single one. 15 games, they've won 14 of them.
It's true.
But if we think back to the playoffs of last split, and even the first game from this split, Cloud9 plays very reserved against Team Solo Mid. It's actually like they've kind of swapped places in a sense, because Cloud9 will be content picking a late game composition, farming up their waves, and then kind of waiting for the team fights to come to them, and really relying on their laning ability against TSM, which isn't the way it used to be approached, but it's been working extremely well lately for Cloud9 against TSM.
Definitely a team that they need to stay ahead of, both one game away right now as they match up. Like we said in the beginning, this is usually a game we'd see for first place, but not yet. Not yet at all.
They're fighting for 3rd/4th place, depending on who wins. Actually, despite all of TSM struggles, and Cloud9 has been struggling as well. You look into this match and think, oh yeah, Cloud9 is way better than TSM, is what you're thinking right now, because everyone's just been on the TSM hate train. But I mean, they're 4-4 versus a 5-3 team. If TSM wins this game, they have exactly the same record in the LCS and a 1-1 season record against them. I think the big difference perception-wise is the fact that TSM has lost to every team ahead of them in the standings. Good damage from Turtle.
Wow.
And beaten every team below them in the standings, whereas Cloud9 has been much more inconsistent. So you tend to give Cloud9 the benefit of the doubt in their inconsistency, and you only remember their victories over COG and their win over LMQ, and you kind of forget about the fact that this Cloud9 team lost to Complexity and EG.
And it's kind of like situations as we just viewed in the bottom lane. Wild Turtle pushing balls out. That's usually a balls 1v1 solo situation where he comes up with a kill.
TF right into Rengar as well.
Bjergsen coming to the top lane. They were trying to catch Cloud9 feeling comfortable, and they got what they wanted. The Lantern so close. The Lantern is taken. Turret bent down. There's the Dragon's Descent right into the fight. The crowd control from Bjergsen will be there with the blue buff on the gold cards. Does he have enough time? Draws one out. Pulls the flash from the rest of the team. Bjergsen almost going down. Turns at the last second. There's the fish, high with Chum the Waters, and he comes to clean up on janitor duty. A double kill now on Glebe, and he's gonna try to get himself out of a tight situation here. Dyrus and Amazing, both at 5, are still gonna have enough without the ulties. Oh my God, there's the ultimate from Pro. What an amazing play from Cloud9 in the end.
What? That was a big, crazy fight. And this was actually Cloud9 collapsing 5 people into the lane before TSM could really spawn, and it could have been a lot worse if it wasn't for some really nice play from TSM.
One more time.
Watch how difficult it is for Cloud9 to get a solid grasp onto TSM. Glebe's plays and amazing stunts just continually kind of kept them back. Right there, the play onto balls couldn't get in. They flashed right at the last second, right as the skill shots were about to land. Another bowler was dodged. Amazing stuns highs is coming in. So much delayed, meaning this final engage had to happen under a turret because it was an extended 5v4. Even another play by Glebe to keep high at bay. Yes, that he did eventually get the double kill, but it could have been a lot worse. And now the gold, dead even.
Good call by Bjergsen to run away from the team with the fish on. That was real close to a lot of people and make the best out of a bad situation there. But like you said, all tied up. Cloud9 absolutely making moves that time. They were definitely playing that lax play, making sure that TSM wouldn't get the upper hand, but felt like they could turn it on for a quick moment there.
And that was the mid-game move that TSM tried to make with the Twisted Fate pick, and it arrived right as the Rengar gank was arriving. So in that case, they did it quite well. But struggling a little bit with the CS on the top lane. But after all is said and done, it's probably going to be about this next dragon fight. Balls needs to charge up his ultimate as quickly as possible on Shyvana, and they need to get some position around that pit. Otherwise, TSM could gain control of it. They're really fighting the board game right now.
And this is really big for Cloud9. You see that High, his first pickup is a needlessly large rod. They are ready to impact any fights that happen right now.
Yeah, he wants his Zhonya's as quickly as possible. That's the build he always goes on Fizz, all the way back to when he played it in the NA playoffs in the summer split of 2013. And actually amazing going up for a gank on balls while the dragon is spawning. Dyrus would have his teleport to come down, but that gives up a lot of vision control around the dragon and might just prompt Cloud9 to rush it down.
Meteo's coming up to help the team, already on 3 stacks, so he's getting some stats out of his Bone Tooth already with that movement speed in and out of combat in the brush. Only going to help him be that much more of the controller for his team.
And they don't even teleport down afterwards. The missed fish by High. I'm really surprised by that TSM move. I think they missed a big opportunity there. They took the first dragon. Obviously, both teams had the timer, but it's kind of on them. When you take a dragon so early, to get the timer and position yourself for the next dragon, you add to the fact that they had the teleport advantage in the top lane as well, with Dyrus having his and balls without his. That was TSM's dragon to lose, and they actually gave it away.
One thing we've seen a lot of this split is shaken confidence that can quickly happen in a game. A wrong initiation, something here or there, and you instantly see second guessing on it. Looks like Cloud9 is definitely really on the first guess right now. Yeah,
that's a problem Cloud9 has been having a little bit. They said they had a little bit of infighting just as they've been losing. They're so used to being the top team in North America. When they start to struggle, that stuff happens. But week to week, they say they are getting better. And TSM, we saw it last week as well, especially in their game against LMQ. Just an indecisiveness and being afraid of making a mistake more than anything else. I think that last dragon was just no one making a decisive call to say, hey, let's go down for the dragon, because they didn't even gank top. They just spent a bunch of time running in between point A to point B.
Waiting for that next objective to come up. Both teams pretty much back into the solos. We see Twitch going down. Sneaky's going to farm up in the bottom lane. Turtle and Glebe at the top. Cloud9's going to try to open up the middle of the map here with pressure. Bjergsen does not have any help.
It's a push and a counter push right now. Bjergsen does have substantially good wave on Twisted Fate. So it is very hard to push that down, especially when you have a Fizz. It's not exactly a tower sieging composition. Cloud9's team across the board is atrocious at sieging turrets. So that could be a very good way of TSM stalling out this game.
That's one thing TSM was talking about. If you're out of position, TSM will take towers. So if they're in position, they have a real good chance to stop any push Cloud9 would bring to the table. We'll see towards the top lane. Cloud9 is actually forcing TSM away just for now, but it all stays safe, and we may actually have them coming right to mid for a side swipe here.
So I do have to point something a little bit strange out on TSM's side. Amazing has built a Sightstone on Elise. And we might see a fight in the mid lane here just because everyone is there. But I will want to talk about that Sightstone in a little bit because it's a development that I think we might see more of in the 4.9 patch. All right, so
it's really played a big role.
Yeah, one of the big things about the 4.9 patch is the bonus experience on jungle monsters was removed. It was an old experience mechanic that was around in Season 3, so especially between the levels of like 7 and 11, the experience junglers can get is diminished. And I think that makes the fighting power of junglers around level 7 and 9 more important because they're going to be around that experience level for a longer period of time.
Right.
And I also think it's going to lead to slightly more supportive style junglers. Because they're going to be lower level, the vision control they provide for the rest of the team is substantially more important. So Lee Sin would obviously get a Sightstone, but we might start seeing it on stuff like Elise.
And crazy stuff coming out of High as well. The Deathfire Grasp instantly put together for his first buy.
Didn't go Zanya's. That's very unlike him on Fizz. He's definitely going for the one-shot kill. Meteos is in stealth.
The whole team is ready there.
Missed the bola.
Oh man, TFL coming in. Ball's a little too deep on that one. He does have the ultimate to get out. Flash is used, so keeps himself safe, but it looks like he saves the ult, I should say.
Wow.
They're gonna fight again. Now this could be that out of position that Cloud9 wants to work with. They don't exactly have the wave where they want it, but they should get some damage here.
Yeah, but if they go to hit this turret, they will be all in on it. So that's actually why High is waiting in the wings with the sweeper, looking for the one shot.
Oh dear, there it is. It's gonna be that extra magic damage coming out, and he is able to Trickster over the wall. He's gonna need some help on this one though. They do have him quite locked up. Lemon Nation comes in for a big amount of crowd control, but it's not gonna be enough. 2 for 1 though. Quite
nice. A 2 for 1 when pretty much only 2 people of Cloud9 were involved in that. High played that just the way he wanted to. Him and Lemon pushed back pretty much everyone. He got his kills. It cost him his life, but he doesn't necessarily care about that. Cloud9 gets a lot of jungle pressure with that as well.
And that's perfect. Taking down Wild Turtle, has a kill in the game. I'm gonna start shutting down that power.
Yeah, and this was a really great post
flash to Trickster.
Yeah,
wow.
It's a flash Trickster. You can do that on Fizz. A lot of the European Fizzes were doing that as well.
Wow.
And then Lemon just came in for the help afterwards, adding some crowd control so High could finish off the second target.
Nicely played. It looks like the aggression of High back to normal. 3, 2, and 2 for himself. A little lower in CS, but he is known to not have the highest CS in the mid lane. It's not really his priority. It's getting the team control of the map, and now they're back to help control mid as TSM looks to make their move now to rebuttal that little attack.
Oh, is High thinking about going in a little bit? Because Lemon did have a slow landed, and this is kind of the team fight phase where you'd expect the Braum to come in with a bit more strength. So look for Lemon Nation to make a lot of plays jumping in with the Fizz, and look for Meteos to have a better ultimate next time on Rengar. That was a very lackluster ultimate he had around the Dragon Pit. Most Rengars, if you're looking for the high amount of damage, you go into stealth, you actually activate your Q before you use your leap in, and then you just press your Q a bunch of times. And in between Qs, you use your other abilities. That time, because he didn't want to jump into all of TSM, he tried a long-range bola stun, because it was empowered at the time, to hope for the rest of the initiation. But once it missed, he had just lost all threat.
All right. Keep an eye on Meteos as well as the positioning of Lemon Nation and High in this. A ferocious team composition by Cloud9 really starting to take effect, but the gold's quite even. So TSM is staving off a bit of this power, and they've still been able to drop 2 turrets on either side of the map for both teams. Coming up on 20 minutes, that Dragon is 2 seconds from being back alive. It looks like we're going to get a pretty good fight out of it.
Oh, and actually TSM cuts them off. They go!
Flash Flay coming in. It looks like it's going to be one back and forth. These slice and dice for Dragon's Descent. And And nothing really going down for too much damage. They follow down Meteos, gets a bit of heal back. It's going to be a 1v1. Bjergsen gets out the card. Wild cards as well. Enough to take it down with the Q from him. And TSM Bjergsen's auto attacks, but it's only the one on each, not even each side, it's just Meteos. What a chaotic fight.
Great decisiveness right there by Glebe. Whoever was making the call was the right one.
Whoa.
And even jumping up from the fish there, gets High into the fight.
Not a good move by High there. Definitely an error he did not want to make.
Plus the Dragon after all of that. So Cloud9 overreached a little bit, but was mainly because TSM caught them off guard by going in. The reason it was a good initiation here is Balls did not have his ultimate up, and there was no setup for the stealth from Rengar, so they could not get snuck up on, and they were the ones doing the fighting. Look at that. At this point, yeah, so never mind, the Balls ultimate was up, it's just he used it very early on for not much effect. And then Levin had a very poor Braum shield. He actually faced it away from TSM, so he couldn't block any damage. And High wasn't even in the fight, so it started as a 4v5. They didn't let Meteos get anything off because they used the Twisted Fate ultimate to control his vision. And it was really just TSM catching Cloud9 in between spots again and again.
2,000 gold lead coming in for Team Solo. Mid there is High. Throwing out Chum the Waters on Amazing. Getting instantly repelled on that. The Deathfire Grasp not having too much effect either, but this gives Bjergsen a huge jump now in the ability to make plays. Almost with the Zanya's finished, that means TSM can start to initiate things that they want to do. This also helps Wild Turtle get back in the game. Another kill to him is Cloud9, we just saw focus him in the jungle solely to stop that.
And I honestly have to touch back to our featured matchup as well right now, because we see Wild Turtle at 8,200 and Sneaky at 6,500. Sneaky is also yet to be involved in a kill or an assist. If you're doing 37% of your team's damage on average, being 0-1-0 is not living up to what the team is expecting of you. So he hasn't been in position, in part because Bjergsen's vision control with the Destiny has kept him in bad places, and also because TSM has been pushing very strongly and decisively as a team.
I also have that tower taking power, Jat. We talked a little bit about it. Cloud9's a little lackluster, and with a very early Deathfire Grasp, it's not going to be a Lich Bane fizz that fast either.
And in addition to not having wave clear, Cloud9 doesn't have any good anti-siege.
Yeah.
You know, they can maybe initiate on you if they get a flank, but as far as clearing waves, as TSM's coming into their turret, they don't have much. So they're really needing to find fights in the map, and TSM hasn't been giving them to them as of yet. He does land the bowl this time, though.
So they're going to get the Chum the Waters out. They do not.
Right where they need
on it. Waiting on the Lantern. Very nice from Glebe to always be in the right spot at the right time with those so far. Cloud9's running a 5-man squad. This is not normal that we usually see from them. They're trying to figure out what they want to do right now.
So Cloud9 is a team that has pretty strong initiation here, but no turret sieging potential. So that means the objectives they can control around aren't turrets. It basically means they need to fight around Dragon and Baron. When they were setting up for Dragon the last time, they didn't have the proper vision control and got initiated on. That was really Cloud9's window to try and jump ahead in the game. At this point, it's actually TSM who gets to make all the moves until the next Dragon or Baron is up, because if TSM can ward up properly, they can keep their distance from Cloud9, use their range advantage, and play it safely. It's just a little bit difficult to avoid the flank attacks from Cloud9, which means TSM needs really good wards, which of course is why they have 2 Sightstones. So it's actually really smart by TSM right now.
Perfect that you mentioned the wards. Even the pinks and the greens that sit in TSM's inventory right now, and they're not just being placed willy-nilly. TSM's moving up, knowing when they can control those positions with the pink wards, and then they'll be placed. Very nice control. Just a line right down the river. Nobody's going to get into their side of the jungle without their knowledge.
Yeah, it's so nice. The Sightstone on Elise is a very uncommon purchase, but it makes so much sense in the context of what TSM is playing against in Cloud9, a team that is all about trying to find picks and initiate on you, and nothing about sieging. So TSM knew what the priority was this time, and Amazing made the adaptation.
High still waiting to build up a bit. Wes Bjergsen finishes his second item now, having that Deathfire Grass kind of plateaued him as it didn't work out the way he thought it would. We'll see what TSM has in mind here, Jad. It does not look good for C9. Looks like they'll be able to back off, though. Quickly seen with the minions in mid. It's Cloud9 now clearing out some wards. That 5 seconds it takes to hit a pink ward is very dangerous.
They can't even get it at this point. Balls wasn't near. And they do not want to get another flash flay by Glebe, right? That was such a great initiation last time. Also, Wild Turtle's at a very strong item threshold right now. Trinity Force Bloodthirster on Corki. It's probably Corki's strongest point in the game. Whereas Sneaky doesn't even have his Phantom Dancer yet. If he did the Patent and Twitch open up next to the enemy AD carry, he would just die. He wouldn't actually kill Wild Turtle. Wild Turtle will blow him up.
Wild Turtle could definitely show some numbers this game. The lowest amount of kills in the game to an AD carry, 4. That's the highest Wild Turtle's had in a game so far.
Not this split, he hasn't even had 5 kills in a game. How crazy is that?
Yep. We talked a little about that 1.1 KDA versus Cloud9 last time. That was a 1-4-3 Twitch game. So now he takes that Corki away from Sneaky and shows him what for, even though we had the same teacher.
Teacher was on Braum right now.
Yep.
Needs to do some nice defensive moves the next time TSM initiates on them. But if they keep getting
caught
out like this...
Oh no, teacher, look out! He's to be all right. He's safe.
Yeah.
The students help the teacher.
Well, is he actually? Shyvana's not there.
That Zanya's play. This is what they said they would be available to do. Just throwing out the Destiny makes Cloud9 scatter, and they're not able to control the kill to Lemon Nation.
Cloud9 is out of sorts, and TSM is the team playing together right now.
Yeah.
Meteos used his jump onto a ward that was being TP'd on right there by TSM, and Lemon Nation burns his ultimate for the death. And with the vision control that TSM has around this Baron, with pink wards and all, it just makes the Twisted Fate, Elise, and Thresh picks even more threatening. Cloud9 has lost control of the map.
The game became a lot about vision once all these wards started coming out, so it doesn't hurt to have a global Destiny from Twisted Fate. Really putting the pressure on Cloud9. They're not going to be able to respond to a 25-minute Dragon take here by Team Solo Mid, already up 5,000 gold in the game and starting to put their foot down.
Yeah, and I don't know if the gold lead is controllable now for Cloud9, because they want to posture around objectives and force TSM to come to them, but they're pretty far behind right now. So they're clearing pink wards. They're trying to do this with Baron. They should probably just start the Baron right now, because they know that TSM just took the Dragon. Just not the guts to make that call.
Great composition coming in.
That was probably Cloud9's window to get back in the game right now. They didn't have complete vision control because they didn't have enough sweepers to really check. Only watching the replay will they realize what a great opportunity they missed there. But now TSM's just getting control back, and it's the pick game all over again.
It's just like all chat. Can we do Nasher? Do we have vision? Do we know if we have vision? Do we have a panic plot? Do we have vision? It's almost so chaotic you don't even know when you actually know. 42,000 to sit at 36,000. We'll see if Cloud9 can actually just push through that mentality and get it done for themselves. Good wards coming out. Great sweeper there coming from Lemon Nation as well. TSM setting to put themselves up in a great just poke spam. You have Wild Turtle, Bjergsen, amazing in Gleave, can get long catches as well, kind of just like the Elise and Morgana. You have the Elise Thresh hook here. They are ready to work competition and disengage if they need to.
But we do have to point out that Cloud9, as far as just overall damage and in-team fighting power, the composition is much greater. So if they can keep the goal close and it goes super late, Cloud9 would be great, but they don't have the tools to stall at the moment. They're going for a fight.
Looks like Meteos goes in very hard. They get not even the Lantern out. Meteos still alive, getting himself the heals for High coming in with the kills. Sneaky in the backside. They slowed things down as TSM didn't like the damage they were seeing on the front end of that fight. But now that Iris comes in, High to the backside. He gets flayed out of his Q. Does a bit of the damage, but he's not able to apply the rest. Shots onto balls in the top side. He might go down the last rocket. Just missing the Dragon Tail. The big one missing as well. He uses the Valkyrie and can't get into range. Burnout keeping balls alive.
Even though TSM hasn't finished off balls, that might do it for the game because they just wrecked Cloud9 3-4-0, nearly 4-0 in a team fight. No one in Cloud9 could get into the position they needed to. TSM completely had control over that fight, even though it was in the jungle, which should be Rengar's backyard. And they're too low to end up doing the Baron, but the kills are still good.
It's almost too much gap for the rest of the team to follow up Meteos here.
Yeah, I mean, Meteos went in so deep trying to chase here. He got hooked, played, all that stuff, and then he tried to run away from Tyrus. But he ended up getting chased down. And watch how Sneaky could never get in the proper position to fight. Cloud9 was half in and half out. And when the Twisted Fate ultimate came in, he could never get involved. No one could close on Wild Turtle because it was just the Fizz trying to get in there. And TSM just cleaned up. Zanya's at the right time, ult's at the right time, and great finishers.
That was a great play by Bjergsen. Came in, gold carded, and wild carded the majority of the fight instead of just trying to solo Sneaky. Great mindset by everybody on Team Solo Mid, working together and not just focusing the same target with crowd control, but the damage instead. 47 to 38 now. It's looking more and more grim for Cloud9. 5 turrets to 3 as TSM starts to open up the map like a Christmas present here, and they're about to find out what's inside quite soon. Not getting to the mid inhib now. Baron's going to be there, and then maybe to the bottom turret if they want.
TSM needs to start baiting around Baron as well, and they know that just now. They pushed out the mid lane, they see Sneaky in the bottom lane. It's not a matter of baiting when they can just take it right off the bat.
Strong play all around. This kind of control, you definitely know TSM is back on the rise in their gameplay. Sneaky doing what he can to kind of counter that gold and stats that TSM just grabbed a hold of. Is 3 of 4 dragons, and the first Baron of the game is in their pocket.
What a turnaround for TSM. I mean, considering how bad they looked last week, they looked completely uncoordinated against LMQ.
A new coach.
They had some of the worst early games. They did win against Curse.
Yeah.
But the fact that they lost to every team above them and beaten every team below them, it didn't seem like TSM could go very far. But now the fact that they've only beaten Cloud9 once in 15 tries, and they're looking to beat them very handily here in the second game they've played them this summer. It's going to be great for their momentum.
Look around the board at how many teams have grabbed an extra coach or a coach in general. It's almost a momentum push for the team. You get a coach. Dignitas now has 2. It seems like they surged in power. TSM figures, let's grab one of our own. We need kind of an outside look on the end.
And I'm sure we'll get to know a lot more of Loco Doco as the season progresses.
Yeah.
But he is a guy who's had a lot of ups and downs in his career. He's been around since the very start, really, of League Esports. He's played in the OGN Champions Final in Korea.
Yeah.
He's had 2 stints in North America, once playing for CLG, once trying to qualify with a team of Korean players. Now he's back coaching TSM, so he has experience. It's just a matter of making it work.
We'll see if his knowledge and power can really give the team what they need. Balls putting on the blue suede shoes for a set. They are dedicating quite a bit to taking him down. They'll get a turret out of it here. But what can they lose out of this? A lot of their crowd control is down, and it looks like they're just too powerful, really, Cloud9 to even give it a second thought.
Yeah, pretty big mistake there by Cloud9. Balls can't be out there trying to defend that turret. They want to get a flank attack, but now they have no Shyvana.
Oh, boy.
Kai's coming in from behind. They might just try and go for it.
Beautiful.
Maybe?
Oh, he got out! Threw it on. He has the Quicksilver Sash for himself. Chum the Waters doesn't do anything here. Bjergsen goes into the Zanyas, and they are still ready to formulate the fight. Already taken down Lemonation. The huge crowd control for the team is down. High is going to try to do what he can now, and I don't think it's going to be enough. Uses the Q to dodge out and kind of do a little bit of a trickster, but it's not going to work. TSM reads it like a book.
Try as Cloud9 might, they're just one step behind. A McHale's and a QSS on Wild.
Yeah.
So good luck.
I was wondering what all those
getting a shark
were.
to stick on that guy. They also had the heal from Wild Turtle that came in at just the right time. They had Zanyas on Bjergsen to keep him safe, and Cloud9's initiation was not together, really. And look at even the health when they start this fight. Cloud9 is lower than TSM is. When you QSS the shark, you don't stop the shark, but you stop it from following you.
Yep.
Then they put the shield on him as well, so Wild Turtle was completely safe. Lemonation tried to frontline, but they had no initiation from Shyvana ultimate, so they could not punish TSM for grouping as well as they wanted to. Sneaky for the first time gets a great Twitch ultimate off, but they're behind so much at the time, it just doesn't matter. And then barely Glebe survives through the Twitch poison because of his shield. So just a series of unfortunate events for Cloud9 in that team fight.
This composition becomes almost impossible for High to hit a fish on. You got a Zanya's, Turtle's gonna get his silver, or the Mikhails, and Amazing can just dodge out of it. The other two have the HP to take it. It's becoming harder and harder for Cloud9 here. They went through picks and bans so fast in this one, but did not get the start in the game they wanted.
Yeah, I mean, they picked themselves into a corner with the team composition. It's not a bad team composition, but it's just when they fall behind, they don't have much to do. There's a jump.
See what can happen here. There's the 1-2, a 3 possibly coming in. There's the Zanya's denying that. Can he get over the wall? And he does, but the Glebe is there! The rest of the team is there! Oh my god, Bjergsen stays alive! 41 seconds on Meteos, 45 seconds on High. They are running amok right now, and TSM's gonna be looking for the Nexus soon.
Yeah, Bjergsen does have 2 Void Staffs, and I think that's one of the reasons that play was so aggressive for him right there. No need to have the 2 Void Staffs, but he at least, he's keeping them. He's fully committed right now, doesn't want to lose the AP.
I like it.
Still, Dazanya's baiting into everything else is great, and you can see the gold difference over time in this game is just trending upwards and upwards. It was close until the team fight started going for TSM. ever
Wow.
since they got the vision control from the Elise and the nice initiations from Glebe.
Cloud9 really not being able to stay on par with that gold increase. And it looks like a few more kills. Shuts down Meteos and High. Very vocal players for the team as well. Hopefully Cloud9 keeping their heads in this one. TSM's looking to close out the game quite soon. They have everything they need to continue diving on these turrets. And Wild Turtle on the backside.
No wave clear from Cloud9. They might just have to fight right now.
That's a one. Oh, cleaved onto the Dragon. The set with the flay. Very nice. Ball's trying to do what he can from the back line. Dyrus level 16 with Dominus on in the front. Sneaky gets a kill that he needs. Bjergsen sidestepping back and forth. No Zanyas for that, but it hardly even did damage to him from the Chum the Waters. It's a turnaround somehow now. Cloud9 is getting shredded. There's the one. There's the two. A triple kill coming in for Wild Turtle as he throws on the shell. And the first pick, Corky, comes up huge.
Triple kill right there from Wild Turtle, and it was the peel of TSM. They moved back as a unit as Cloud9 tried once and again, dive and dive and dive, and they just couldn't make it to the targets they needed to. Now they're trying to kill the Nexus.
Turret's going down. That's one Nexus turret. Not even gonna have time to get back to the Baron because they don't need it. Team Solo Mid trying to come out big on this one. Focusing completely on the turret. That's gonna have to be a gold card from Bjergsen. Oh, he gets the flame breath. And they're gonna have to be getting out on this one. We said it before. Wild Turtle only got the 4 kills before.
Real fast right now and invisible.
Uh-oh. There's a repel. Phosphorus comes out for more vision. That's very nice.
You could see how scared Meteos was of Wild Turtle right there. Just so much damage from Corky. He could not wait around for the repel. We got to take another look at this fight, though. And the play on the Shyvana ultimate was just right. Doesn't even get close for the damage. And that may well have decided a large portion of this fight, because if we look at the open that Sneaky had, it was rather impressive as there was a Flaming Dragon in there throughout that. Wild Turtle may have been a lot lower. The Shark onto Bjergsen may have done a lot more work, and the turn would not have been possible, but as it was, teleporting right next to Sneaky and getting that stun is what allowed Wild Turtle to be so aggressive, so they had to do that as a unit in order for it to work.
Turtle back to his roots on this one.
10-1-5. So much for not getting 5 kills or more in a game.
Looked like he changed that one. We can say this KDA is definitely better than his first game against Cloud9 at the 1.1.
Oh, Amazing would have seen
that's not yours.
During that repel. He's in a bit of a pickle.
Uh-oh.
One would say.
Uh-oh. There's one.
Where's he gonna go?
He has to do a lot here.
He's gonna Zanyas? Yeah.
That was
Did he
nice.
jump back over the wall?
Oh, wow. He's not even ready to put out damage himself.
Yeah, there wasn't much he could do with 5 people chasing him, and the amount of crowd control TSM has. Now with no Nexus turrets, this is looking like Game Riv.
Yeah, just in the middle, Bjergsen is 5,000 gold over High by himself. There's quite a discrepancy here between these players across the board in our featured matchup.
Oh, no!
Wild Turtle versus Sneaky.
He walked right past the pink board while trying to get an open.
Wild Turtle versus Sneaky, and that's Wild Turtle, to say the least. There's another kill for Turtle coming in. 13-1-5 on the first pick, priority Corky pick, as the rest of the team goes for the Nexus. A 36-minute game as TSM takes down Cloud9 convincingly.
And most importantly, they tie them in the standings.
Yes, they do.
So TSM always sees Cloud9 as their biggest rival here because they've won the last 2 splits and destroyed them in the playoffs. But that win is so important for TSM's confidence.
That congratulatory hug as well looked like the old Team Solo Mid. Whenever Team Solo Mid would have wins lately, they kind of get up and be stressed about it. They wouldn't be able to celebrate that win because it was a hard-fought win. This one was methodical. They went at it, and they knew what they wanted from the get-go. Wild Turtle coming out very strong in the game. In the laning phase for Team Solo Mid, a safer laning phase than usual, and it was enough to carry them.
And honestly, so much pressure has been on this Team Solo Mid team, especially during their struggles, because Amazing and Glee joined a team that is just expected to be one of the best in North America. And because they are on Team Solo Mid, they have to be that good immediately. One of the big things Locodoco did as soon as he joined the house for the coach is he stopped them from reading social media right off the bat to hopefully alleviate some of that pressure. And it did look like TSM was playing much more freely this game. Instead of being afraid of making mistakes, they were making informed decisions based off of their heavy ward control and initiation potential.
Great play around the board. Everybody really Glebe was the one with the most deaths, the way it
Yeah.
should be. The team positioned correctly. Well, support's going to go down. You got to make the
assists.
plays. But like you said, everybody was making plays. They really built correctly for the entire matchup. Dyrus did a great job of not being the dude. Obviously, it's a top laner, but the guy that was focused out at 5-6 minutes when he was trying to get himself safe. This TSM play was completely different from the start.
And it's another reason for Cloud9 to say, hey, they're not really back yet. If we actually look at their season as a whole, you know, they now just moved to 5-4. But if we remember some of their victories, their LMQ game, so close. Their COG game, there was a 6,000 or 7,000 gold disadvantage at one point. It could have been a very real possibility that Cloud9 has a losing record at this point of the season. So they're really needing to start to worry about this right now because we're nearing the halfway point in our season. We're getting close to that point. Obviously, we're only in week 4, but this is 9 games in, and they're still not looking like their old selves.
That's right.
So they got to be worried.
Got to be worried. Indeed. It's going to be, they have a while to go, but things need to be fixed fast. For the lowdown on Team Solo Mid's win, let's hand it over to Freak and Kobe at the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Riv, and we're joined by the man of the hour, Coach Loco Doco from TSM.
Hi.
So, coming into that game, right, you know you're facing Cloud9 team, historically very big favorites against you guys. This is your second win ever against C9 in professional play. What was the plan heading in?
We actually meant to first pick Braum. We knew they would pick, we were planning on running a TF comp, and we knew they would run Fizz. Rengar jungle, we didn't really expect, but we just had a really solid plan on how we were going to play TF, and the guys pulled it off.
Why go for why come in saying, okay, it's Cloud9, we want to run Twisted Fate? Like, what is that thought process?
It's not even that we're playing against Cloud9. Like, just watching how they play, I realized they play really well with TF, and that was a comp that I wanted to develop, and I knew Bjergsen could be really good with, so it didn't really matter who we were playing against. I just wanted to play a TF comp, and we did it.
Did anything change in pick spans that you could see, you know, as a coach on the sideline when Cloud9 are locking in all these assassins and invisible characters, or were you expecting a lot of that coming in?
We expected Fizz. Rengar was a surprise pick, but other than that, like, it was pretty standard.
Okay, well, yourself as coach coming into TSM, coming into a team that's already halfway through a split, what was your game plan just overall, you know, coming over to the United States and joining TSM?
I mean, just get them to be good and make playoffs and go back to Korea for Worlds.
So where do you start with a team like that? Do you come in and you just want to change your scrim schedule, or is it...
Scrim schedule, how they wake up, what they eat, and just the general mindset. Like, Glebe and Amazing, the Reddit posts and Twitter posts, it was wrecking them. So no social media for them, and they played so aggressive, and they actually did their job. Glebe had a lot of great flash plays, and Amazing made early ganks, something they weren't doing weeks before. So really happy with how things turned out.
You mentioned changing around like sleep schedules, scrim schedules. Like, what is the regimen you're putting TSM on?
We're not completely on it yet, but it's like sleeping around midnight and waking up around 8 and 9. This is like, I think that's a really good schedule to be on. Like, wake up in the morning. We live really nice, or we live really close to a nice beach. Walk down to the beach and come back in the morning for minimum exercise. Just little stuff like that.
All right, so let's start talking a little bit about the in-game play here from TSM on this game. We have first play coming up is going to be the First Blood, if we can get this on your screen. This is one where TSM, since you guys have the blue side duo bottom around Dragon, you have control of the area. However, Cloud9 come to contest it. You know, as the coach on the sideline, what was going through your mind as this play is happening?
But this is a free kill. Like, this is what I thought. Like, this is our First Blood. Like, great positioning by Amazing and Glebe, Dyrus, all of them waiting there. Dyrus has E learned here instead of W, and he didn't get the double damage proc off on E, which he should have during the CC, and that would have been a kill on Lemon. That's something I would have liked to see. But still, like, Fizz missing all this farm and him getting killed early, it alleviates a lot of pressure for TF, because TF has a really hard time early game versus Fizz. I think that really put us ahead.
And so, you know, looking at this game and realizing like their whole team is full of assassins, I know no like 2 games of League are ever alike, but like how do you coach a team into playing against sort of different types of team comps, like reacting to a different setup every game?
Realize your own win conditions and realize their win conditions and just pull off yours better. Like, their win condition right there with their comp was just team fights and picks, and our win condition was split push and getting vision and making picks also. And we just pulled it off better. We had better vision control, and when you run TF, it's really important that the AD and TF have good synergy, because the gold cards, like, the AD and TF need to stay together in team fights and pick people off one by one, like the front lines, and Turtle and Bjerg pulled it off really well.
So you have to get that coordination kind of across classes then. Is there a way that you kind of up that synergy? You just kind of let them know, like when you're running TF, like make sure you guys do this in the scrims and you see that kind of progress throughout the games?
Because Bjerg and Amazing will pick a lot of the fights. I always say, like when we're running TF comp, make sure Turtle is in position before you do it. And Turtle, communicate when you're out of position and don't let them fight like when we're out of position.
All right, well, we have one more replay. This is going to be a 3 kills for TSM by the red buff here. You can get this one on your screen. This is a bit later after you guys do have a pretty handy leg up in the game. So walk us through this one.
Okay. Oh, okay. This fight, they committed so much on Turtle, but Turtle still lived, and he can get his full damage off now on Shyvana. And Dyrus got the kill on Meteos after he committed and used all his damage. So now it's just easy cleanup. And then High commits right there, and Glebe gets such a good play off right there.
So you were talking before a lot about win conditions, and a lot of the guys have been using that term. Basically, those are like the strengths of the team comp that you have picked. What fights will be an advantageous scenario for you guys, and you want to obviously fight as many of those as possible. How do you go about coaching a team in that? Do you bring examples of specific team comps and say, this is a team comp that has a lot of mobility, and they're going to want to do X, X, and X? Or how do you bring that to the attention of your players?
We go through the pick and bans like in scrims, and after the pick and bans are over, I talk to the guys like, okay, this is what you need to do with your comp. If you have an Italy, then you poke and you get side vision and make sure you don't get flanked. If you have TF, then you have strong laners that can coordinate ganks with them. Just talk about win conditions, and if they don't pull it off right in game, just go through the replay and show like you should have been doing this and this there. Just go over what they did wrong.
So speaking of going over replays, then you guys just finished your match. You have some time now to collect yourselves and think to tomorrow's game against Complexity. Have you guys thought about that yet, or is it going to be, bounce from this and go?
Well, I want to watch what Complexity plays today and scout a bit. We have something planned, and depending on what they played today, we're going to adjust our second plan on what we use.
So you come into a week actually knowing what you're going to play in Game 1 and Game 2?
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's good to hear that you guys I don't know, I'm always curious to see how teams kind of prepare.
Is the thing you're looking at them to play Rengar and Westeros, or is it more of a mid lane oriented I
can't tell you, Kobe.
Okay. I think it's Rengar and Westeros. That's what everybody's looking at.
We'll see that one happens. Okay, so from here you guys have looked a whole lot better. How long do you guys hit number 1?
I mean,
how long?
Because I know you want to hit number 1. I know your goals are world. That's a free question.
Yeah.
I want to know how long it takes to you hit that.
If we can keep this up, I feel like we're gonna have a positive record versus everyone. How many games does it take for us to get number 1?
Right now you're 3 games back of first. So
Okay.
if you can cause 3 losses on Dig,
So it's gonna take 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay. 2 weeks first play. I like
Don't
that.
quote me on that.
Too
Don't
late.
quote me on that.
It's
Don't
already
quote me on
happened.
that.
Look at
Oh, God.
2014, 2 weeks first place. We got to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to jump into our next match with Evil Geniuses taking on LMQ. The summer split continues right after this. 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
You know you're gonna get hit by my Q.
What does the fox say?
Do you even go Legolas building graves?
Bjergsen almost going down, turns at the last second. There's the fish, high with Chum the Waters, and he comes to clean up on janitor duty. Oh dear, there it is. It's going to be that extra magic damage coming out, and he is able to trickster over the wall.
See what can happen here. There's the 1-2, a 3 possibly coming in. There's the Zanya's denying that. Can he get over the wall? And he does, but the
Glebe is there. The rest of the team is there. Oh my God, Bjergsen stays alive. 41 seconds on Meteos, 45 seconds on High.
This guy, Twitch all back off.
I'm on foot.
Get back.
We're fine, just keep kiting.
Twitch flashed in.
Get out. Hi!
Yeah.
Meteos.
Meteos, get Twitch troll. Get Twitch troll.
I'm putting on Twitch,
You kill Twitch and you win.
Got it!
All in on Twitch.
Get Twitch, get Twitch!
Good.
Got it!
That's the last one. We got the last one.
Yes, sir!